It's put up or shut up time for the Lions with 3 games to go. Who needs to step up? We discuss.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, let's do this, everybody. It's a Tuesday edition of Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Matt Dery with you on a Tuesday, December 16th into Wednesday, December 17th. Appreciate all of you being here and making us your first listen. We got a big show coming up today, including former Lions linebacker Stephen Tulloch. Yes, Tully, number 55, going to join the program momentarily. We'll talk to Stephen about the Lions' chances to make the playoffs, what he sees in this 8-6 football team. We'll talk about the officiating, stuff from the past, and so much more. Always great to have Stephen Tulloch on the program. We got to tell you about our Everydayers Club coming up. Shout out to our Everydayers. We appreciate all of you that check us out again, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. And I have a little piece of advice for all the guys out there. Listen to your wives. And for the wives, listen to your husbands. I have been battling a cold and cough for over a week. My wife has told me numerous times to take care of it, to rest, to go to urgent care. I finally had to go to urgent care yesterday because I couldn't hear out of my right ear. And I have an ear infection and a sinus infection. So all of us stubborn men out there, guys, listen to your people. Because now I feel much better because I got antibiotics and everything else in my system. With that being said, the Detroit Lions have 3 monster games coming up with Pittsburgh, Minnesota, and Chicago coming up. If the Detroit Lions do not perform, and if the Detroit Lions do not win their last 3 games, it's curtains on this season. It is trouble time. Now, if the Lions finish and win their last 3 games and finish 11-6, they have a 96% chance to make the playoffs at 11-6. If they finish 10-7 and lose to the Steelers but beat Minnesota and Chicago, it's at 41%. And if they finish 10-7 with wins over Pittsburgh and Chicago, also at 41%. But that's also going to come with a lot of help. Bottom line is this. They got to win these games, and it starts this Sunday at 4:25 against the Steelers. If you watched the Steelers last night, good win for them in the cold weather on Monday Night Football against the Dolphins. We know Tua and the Finns just don't seem to win in weather below 40 degrees. Steelers had some injuries last night. Samolo, they're pretty good guard. Herbig could be out. They're at one of their edge rushers and outside linebackers. So we'll see about Pittsburgh as they have a short week. But some guys have got to step up. And this is kind of where I wanted to start today. Because we could sit here, and I spent a lot of time on yesterday's show, and go back and listen and watch it, talking about the defense, talking about the problems the defense is having, and they're having problems. But I've got 3 guys that I think if they step up and if they perform and really elevate their game over the next 3 games, I think the Lions have a very good chance of winning all 3 of those games. And this is not groundbreaking. This is not, this maybe you're going to say, it's just Captain Obvious rearing his ugly head on this Locked On Lions program. But first and foremost, Jared Goff, who played very well on Sunday in LA in his return to SoFi Stadium. Jared Goff, who played pretty darn well against the Cowboys. Didn't turn it over like Dak Prescott did. It's time for Jared Goff. I'm not saying put the team on his back, excuse me, but I think Jared Goff has to take a step forward here and deliver because the run game has been inconsistent. We know the offensive line play hasn't been great lately. Pass protection was very good against the Rams, though, for the most part. But in watching some of the tape and the run blocking, the tight ends, Flying Zylstra brothers, Ferkser, Ricci, all these no-name tight ends that the Lions have, they do not block in the run game. They struggle to block in the run game. And it's it just illuminates it even more when you watch the film and you see the missed blocks that these guys have on counter plays, on anything that the Lions are trying to do, especially running between the tackles. They miss Sam Laporta and they miss Brock Wright. And Brock Wright ain't some great blocker either. But he's certainly better than the guys they're trotting out now. And Brock Wright and Sam Laporta, to quote Rick Pitino, are not walking through that door. So Jared Goff is the first guy that I'm thinking of that has got to step up. And if it's a 3rd and long, and I know how the Lions have been on 3rd and long this year, it's been bad. Goff's got to start making even more plays. And you know what? I thought he stepped up against the Rams. The pass to St. Brown where he moved out of the pocket. Some of the deep throws to Jamison Williams were money throws on the mark. Goff's got to elevate it even more now. And he was on this morning on the midday show on 97.1 The Ticket, and he's a little upset when apparently Karsh and I think it was Stoney on for Scott were saying that the callers have no faith in the team anymore and that they're a little bit negative. And Goff said, quote, "I don't get to reinstill faith in anyone. It pisses me off a little bit to hear that. We have to win this first one. Pittsburgh at home. We'll have it in front of our home fans. It'll be great. Go out there and get the W. And hopefully prove a lot of our people wrong," end quote. Just because a couple of ticket callers think the Lions are dead. But, whatever. If Goff says that pisses him off, good. I hope he's angry. I hope he plays angry. That's number one guy that I think has got to step up. Number 2, it's time for Aiden Hutchinson to really step up. I know he's being double teamed. I know that opposite of him, it's not the greatest, a crop of guys. Al-Quadin Muhammad's had a decent year. Marcus Davenport's been a disappointment. We've talked about Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader and all these other guys. But how about a strip sack this week from Aiden Hutchinson? How about some plays being made? Look, he made a great play on Matthew Stafford on that bubble screen. I mean, that was an athletic, insanely good play. But the Lions need Hutch to really pick it up these next 3 games. And he was the top rated PFF player on defense for the Lions this past week. So again, I'm not taking shots at Goff or Hutch. I'm just saying they got to bring it to another level these next 3 weeks. I don't want to read or see on social media during the Bears game in a must-have Week 18 game how we haven't heard from Aidan Hutchinson in the first half. That just cannot be. And the third guy that has got to pick it up is Dan Campbell. From a play calling perspective, we talked about it yesterday. The offense has been really good. A lot of splash plays, a lot of dynamic plays. The numbers are still there. The offense is still number 1 in the league in scoring. But David Montgomery has got to be utilized more. That's tough to do when you've got Jahmyr Gibbs. But when Montgomery gives you what he gave you this past Sunday, which was in the second quarter, a great drive that ended in a Montgomery touchdown. He can't touch the ball one time the rest of the game. If Montgomery's cooking a little bit and he's moving the pile, keep giving it to him. Then you bring Gibbs in. Maybe you play them together. Maybe you got Gibbs out in the slot and you've got him in motion and you're utilizing him in the passing game. Dan Campbell is a damn good coach. No one's saying he's not. He's done a fantastic job. But he's got to find a way to get his best players in the best positions because now it's win or else. All right? Win or else. Yes, if they lost one game here against Pitt, the game against the Bears has to be a win. But it starts this week with Pittsburgh. They've got to win this game too. Has to get done. Stephen Tulloch going to join us coming up next, the former Lion linebacker, now proprietor and owner of his own coffee brand, Circle House Coffee. We'll talk to Steve next. And Locked On Lions, first and foremost today, brought to you by our friends at It's FanDuel. No, but here's one thing. I'm looking for FanDuel, and I'm looking for my beautiful, there it is, graphic for our YouTube page, and I couldn't find it. All right, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with our friends at FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. How about this Sunday? Lions, Steelers, 425. Line on FanDuel open around 6. It's now at 7. Lions a 7-point favorite against a first-place team. How about that? Well, first place in the AFC North is kind of like first place in the AL Central. I kid. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump right into the moment. Live betting is fun. You got player props they update to during games as guys heat up. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, we've talked about it, everybody. We love our everydayers. Thank you for making Locked On Lions your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now let's take it up to another level. Let's take it up a level. Go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Lions with no interruptions, members-only Discord access. I'll talk to you on the Discord chat and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 for the year. Go to lockedonlions.supercast.com, lockedonlions.supercast.com, or check the link in the show notes to learn more. All right, as promised, everybody, here he is, my guy, Stephen Tulloch, former Lions linebacker, of course, former co-host with me at Detroit Sports 105.1 back in the day. Steve, great to see you. Philip Rivers, he's an NC State guy. You're an NC State guy. He's coming back. How about a comeback for you?
Well, seeing Phil out there last night and knowing what Chocomato installed in us at NC State, I think I can go in on goal line, short yardage situations, and definitely clog up an A gap and stay tackle to tackle and still make plays. So anybody looking for somebody to show up, hey, I'm still available. I'm ready to go.
It's good to see you, brother. We ran into each other in Grand Rapids as you were selling and promoting Circle House Coffee, which is your coffee brand. You were in town.
Yes,
so good to see you, man. You look great.
Man, I appreciate it. Always a pleasure seeing you, man. I had great times in Detroit and our show together. A lot of great memories, man. And it's good, man. You're one of the good guys that I've actually really appreciated getting to know while in Detroit. I'm glad we have a good, strong friendship.
Oh, awesome. Absolutely, bud. How much do you get to see? Now, you're down in Fort Lauderdale, but you come up here a lot for business and obviously as a Lions alum. But how much do you get to see the current team?
I watch them every week. It's obviously, I love Detroit greatly. Out of my 11 years, my 5 years in Detroit was bar none of the best years of my career. Just seeing where we were at in 2011 and where the franchise is at today, it's night and day and excitement that goes on in Detroit, and just excited for the team and looking forward to the future and what they continue to build on.
It's crazy. I asked this of a lot of the guys that played with you. Andre Fluellen was on the show. I ran into Herman the other day and saw Lomas too, but they're dumbfounded at how consistent and how awesome this has been for now 3-4 years that this has been a contending team. Obviously this year wasn't like last year with 15 wins, but did you ever think the Lions could get to this plateau and be this high up in the eyes of people around the league?
I do. I think we tethered with it, right? I think my first year in Detroit in 11, we went to the playoffs, right? Swartz came in, brought a different attitude, wasn't sustainable for a long period of time. But then Caldwell came in, right? Caldwell, got a little morale in the team, got the city believing a little bit better, a little more discipline as a team. And he gets fired at 9-7, which to this day I don't understand that. But then you bring in Patricia and we go all the way back down to the bottom again, right, for a couple of years. But then you bring in a guy like Dan Campbell, former player, understands what it takes to be a pro, understands how players feel on a week-to-week basis, builds up the team with the team run through a wall for him. Now you have a team that's, all three phases for the most part are dialed in. Upper management's dialed in. Our general manager is probably one of the best general managers we've had in a very long time, organizing and putting people in place, very good at that. So we finally have a team that's a competitive team, a more consistent team. And as you mentioned, yes, this year's not has been as strong as the previous years, but we definitely have the pieces to kind of keep things going and getting better.
Would you have liked Stephen to play for Dan Campbell? Would you just love that?
Well, I think, I think the same way I love to play for Coach Caldwell and Schwartz. I think Dan Campbell just brings a different component. Being out of those other two coaches, he played the game, right? He was part of the 0-16 team. He knows what it feels like to play for the Lions and now coach for the Lions and what the city needs. And he's a blue collar guy, and it's a blue collar city. I think there's no one better else for the job. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. Obviously, there's things happen throughout the course of the season. We got to get back on track. As you and I both know, December is prime time football. But overall, I think he's done a phenomenal job. Holmes has done a great job just bringing pieces in and organizing, making trades, and finding guys that fit the model of what Detroit's about. And I'm just excited about where the team could potentially go this season as they finish out.
Yeah, they got to win their last three. Obviously, they're sitting at 8-6 right now. As you watch the first 14 games, what have you seen that you like? And maybe what do you think is the reason why they've kind of gone win-loss here for the last couple of months?
I think like anything else, it's consistency, right? Defining your identity, who you are, and what are you trying to accomplish? I think for us, I've seen games where we were aggressive. Some games we weren't aggressive. I think for us, it's just a matter of what's that sweet spot. When are we going to be aggressive? When is it too aggressive? I think just honing in that. I know we believe in our team, and they'll run through the wall and do whatever it takes. But there's certain times in the game where I think we probably kind of more aggressive than we should have been, right? Rely on the defense. I think the coordinator is doing a good job. Chubb doing a good job of just putting people in position, playing with obviously injuries, right? Injuries have been affecting this team throughout the course of the year. But then you bring guys in who are second-string players who are coming into their own. You got guys like Campbell who stepped up, playing his best football since he's been drafted, right? You have Hutchinson, getting back in the swing of things. So there's pieces there. It's just a matter of just coming all together. I think our offense, we just we got to get a little more consistent, right? I think we have great players across the board, just being more consistent, more dialed in, more attention to detail. But overall, man, it's a phenomenal team. I think we're beating ourselves more than anything. Just staying disciplined and staying consistent, I think is where we got to be at.
We're talking to Stephen Tulloch, by the way, former Lion linebacker. You played that Mike spot, that middle linebacker spot. What are you seeing in Jack Campbell? Because I see a guy that I think this year got to be in the Pro Bowl the way he's played. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think he's playing with a lot more confidence, a lot more assertiveness. He's commanding the defense. He's playing way better in coverage. He's coming downhill, being physical with his hand. He's playing top-notch football right now. I think it's the best football of his career since being drafted to the Lions. He's leading the team in tackles. He's all over the field. And I think a lot of what we see now is what we saw in college at the University of Iowa. He's just a sideline guy, very good in coverage. But I think it's understanding the scheme, knowing where his teammates are, his leverages. I've definitely seen an uptick in his production for sure.
Steve, you went through it. You tore your ACL, and we're not going to get into that story because everybody remembers. Yeah. But you had to come back the next year. Aleem McNeil and Aleem McNeil is doing the same thing. I've been a little bit critical of Aleem over the last, I think 2 of the last 3 games. He hasn't recorded even a tackle. He hasn't even been on the stat sheet. How difficult is it? Are we being too hard on a guy like that comes back maybe early? Or, hey, if you're out there, you should be producing.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, man, everyone heals differently, right? He's the NC State guy, by the way. But everyone heals differently. I think for him, it's just, too much is given, much is required, right? You get the big check. They want to see production. And quite frankly, we haven't seen it as well as we're used to seeing. I think, he is back a little bit earlier than you typically somebody who comes off the injury. But there's no excuses. We're all pros. We're all professionals. We got to handle ourselves accordingly. And I'm sure he's doing everything in his power to get back to where he needs to be at. Quite frankly, right now is the time more than ever. This is crunch time. This is critical. We got to penetrate the inside. We got to create havoc inside. We got to allow our linebackers to get downhill and stay in coverage and still bring that presence. But again, it's a team effort. We got to get everybody on board. And I know he's doing. I know him very well. I know he's doing everything he can to get back healthy again and be productive as we're used to seeing him.
Take me through a secondary that doesn't have a guy like Kirby Joseph, and then you throw Brian Branch in the mix, and they're both out. You've been on some teams that, have had seasons where teams just get decimated by injuries. It's part of the game, but how difficult is it for the secondary when those two are not back there?
I think you look back to the previous seasons. This has kind of been our Achilles heel. We get to December and guys are banged up, right? So now we got to look at the source. Why are they getting banged up? What's going on, right? The longevity of a season is very long. There's a lot of grueling games and recovery. So we got to figure out, get to the root of what's going on, right? Because to see this happen in the past 3 years where we lose key players in December, it's disheartening because, we obviously know we believe in our second string players and got to step up, but that experience, the consistency to lose that, and, it's kind of tough. And losing a guy like Branch and Kirby, I mean, you talk about the cornerstones of your secondary who, the pillars to holding that thing together. And as you know, in the NFL, man, we watch a lot of film. So we're looking at weaknesses. We're looking at strengths. What corners there? How can we create mismatches? And that's the game when it comes to December. That's the game, right? What's the mismatches? Where is their liability in coverage? Where's their liability in the defense? Where are their soft spots? And as you watch the game, you kind of see the soft spots. You kind of see the liability. Using guys like Branch and Kirby are hard things to kind of get over. But, you just got to trust in the coordinator to kind of put the team in the best position to, help double certain players and help leverage other players to kind of mitigate the gap that we're missing with those two players.
How about your former teammate, Matthew Stafford, still out there slinging it, spinning it at 37, 38 years old? He looked pretty good the other day, did he not?
Man, Matthew Stafford he reminds me a lot of Phillip Rivers, man. Those obviously I played with Phillip in college, but just a competitor, a guy that you can depend on each week to go out there and give his all. You never got to question whether or not he's going to give his all. You know what you're going to get out of him every week. And he's sound. He's throwing the ball better than he probably ever has. The guy's 17 years and looks like he can play well into his 40s. He's an MVP candidate. They're the best team in the NFC by far. They lost some close games early in the season. They should have won. So believe it or not, I think they probably should have a better record. But man, they're getting hot at the right time, and then in that division, it's pretty open. But there's no question about it that they're running the NFC right now.
All right, I got to ask you, and back in the day when you played, you had to be a little bit more careful because you didn't want to get fined. But like the officiating, look, the officials didn't cost the Lions a game on Sunday, but kid catches a touchdown pass. He's not, Parkinson. He's not in the end zone. They go through the review process. They still say he is. A few weeks ago, Matt LaFleur calls timeout way after the left guard jumps on a false start. You were a part of the 14 team that got screwed on the Pettigrew play in Dallas.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is there a conspiracy against this organization, Steve?
I just think overall, like I said, I don't play anymore, so nobody can find me. But it's disheartening to really see as a fan now, retired 8-9 years, watching it from my couch. Like, man, this is the NFL. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? There's no reason for this. There's a lot of money out there, right? There people are Vegas. There's a lot of It's unbelievable to see the calls that are being made and no accountability being held, right? I think this is going to be something that the lead meeting this year is going to have to seriously address, right? If we have this office in New York with all these cameras, I've never been in New York, Park Ave, but when you go in the NFL office, you see all those TVs. It's inexcusable to miss a call, right? There's no way in heck we should be missing calls that are changing games, changing seedings. I mean, you talk about it, man. That he was down, right? There's clear as day he's down, but to sit there and review it and say it's okay, it hurts the integrity of the league to trust in officiating when it comes. It's kind of like the WWE, right? I mean, it's not right. It's not right, especially when you have systems in place to mitigate that and stop that from happening. To have pass interference that aren't reviewable. Your coaches should be able to throw a flag if they think it's a pot where they can review it and be like, you know what, you're right, that wasn't a pass interference. We're in 2025, going to 2026. The game has changed. We have pylon cameras. We have cameras all over the sky. Everybody sees what the lead sees. And so to miss calls like that, it's not good for the lead. And I think that's something that the NFL definitely has to address this offseason. And we got to get better where people can step in and be like, no, this is not okay, because it's costing people their jobs as coaches and players. It's costing seeding. And it's costing, the fans, right, that go out there and pay their hard-earned money to watch a clean game and to see calls like that being had. It's not acceptable by no means.
Stephen Tulloch with us, the great Lions linebacker, 5 years with the team, was team captain for a while. I know how much you love Jim Caldwell. We used to talk about that. We mentioned Stafford. Who else are you staying in contact with as far as former guys? And Who do you see and who do you miss?
Oh man, I love, obviously I love Schwartz. He's my guy. I love him to death. He drafted me in Tennessee, brought me to Detroit, brought me to Philly. He's number one. Coach Caldwell's a father figure, man. Never been around a guy like that in my life. Love him to death, man. Just a phenomenal person, a phenomenal coach. I talk, a lot of guys, Levy, Rob Sims, Joey Bell, a lot of guys in between that, maybe Calvin and other guys. But it's just cool to really be able to see young players who I've mentored, like, Calvin Noy, and guys that are going to different teams, and now they're turning into veterans, guys who I've laid my hands on and gave advice to see them turn into pros and great players in their own right. It's kind of different sitting on this side of the field and on the outside looking in, right? I played 27 years of football throughout the course of my life, 11 years professionally, had a long, great career. But to be able to see the younger guys come into their own, and organizations that I played for kind of turn the chapter into becoming better teams. It's just an awesome journey for myself to have had the opportunity to not only just play in the league, but play for a long time, and to really see guys develop and organizations take that next step.
What about your business ventures? You've got a few of them, but I know Circle House Coffee is something that really has taken off. You were in town. You were at the Kroger in Shelby Township over the weekend. And tell me about how that got started and what's going on with that.
Yeah, it's been great, man. It's been great. I retired in 2016. I got into commercial residential real estate, buying a lot of properties and pay-by-phone parking lots and doing developments and developing different projects, duplexes, warehouses, triple net leases. Then I created this brand called Circle House Coffee in the midst of all that. Went to coffee school. We've been in business 7 years. We're in Kroger's, Myers across Michigan. We service the Miami Dolphins. We do Formula One, NFL Super Bowls. And then we have a brick and mortar here located in Fort Lauderdale, coffee shop and drive-through, and we do fulfillment in Kalamazoo. So, it's growing. What started as a vision 8 years ago has now turned into a brand, and we're able to make impact the community through Circle House Coffee, giving back to our local global communities one step at a time. Every time you purchase a Circle House Coffee product, whether it's a nitro cold brew can or a 12-ounce bag of coffee, 55 cents goes to the Stephen Tulloch Foundation to help people in need. I'm actually flying to Jamaica next week to drop off a 20-foot container that I bought full of non-perishable items, clothes, water. It's packed to the brim. About to go outside now and finish packing to pick it up tomorrow morning. So I'll be the container down there. We'll hand it out to people in Jamaica to help them through the Hurricane Melissa. I built a school in Jamaica in 2017 in honor of my mother, Mercedes B. Tulloch Infant School. We have about 180 kids that are based there in Jamaica. So I'm excited to see those kids and see the smiles on their faces as we help them with the essential items that they need. But hey, look, God is good, man. I've had the opportunity to live a great life. My birthday is coming up January 1st. I'm able to bless people along the journey that I've had, and like I said, meet people like yourself. So it's been a good ride all the way around, and I'm just taking it as long as I can until the light shut off.
The people of Jamaica are great, by the way. My wife and I love going there, and
Okay.
Folks love it. The folks there are just so great and
amazing.
Man, Melissa was scary. That was a scary few days down there. But I love that you're giving back. Wait, you went to coffee school? I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Yeah, I went to coffee school. I went to Seattle Barista Academy in Seattle. I went to Fresno, California. To work with Zach Follett. I remember him.
Oh, yeah.
He owns a great company out there, Cup of Joy, a phenomenal dude. So he had an opportunity to learn from him. But when I came back here, I built this brand, and I have a great team that help assist in building the brand. And it's just amazing to see what an idea can come from and how it can flourish. And now we're able to pass e-commerce, circlehousecoffee.com. People can order there, Amazon, GFS, Gordon Food Services. I mean, we're all over. So distribution has kind of been the forefront of what the brand is now. It started as a brick and mortar where we're at now, but we're expanding and we're growing and we're making impact along the way.
All right, folks, you heard the man. CircleHouseCoffee.com. Support Stephen Tulloch, the foundation. He supported all of us for years. He's always tells people he's a Detroiter. He was here 5 years, yet still says this is like a second home to him. Great to see you, brother. So happy for you, and a happy early birthday in a few days, and we'll talk again soon.
I appreciate you, man. Best of luck to you, man, and keep kicking ass. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Of course. Stephen Tulloch with us, the former Lions legend. Man, love seeing Tully. It's always awesome to talk to number 55. And Locked On Lions today brought to you by our friends at Rocket Money. Ever feel like your money just disappears each month? It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances. Because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you, so you can save more and stress less. Rocket Money finds subscriptions you forgot you were paying for and helps you clean them up quickly. Seeing all of your spending on one dashboard just makes it easier to understand where your money is going. Having the app too, find good times to save each month keeps you consistent with all of your financial goals. Take control of your finances, cancel your unwanted subscriptions, a lot of them you don't even know you have, with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, wrapping up this Tuesday edition of Locked On Lions, Chris Carter, host of Locked On Steelers, will join us Thursday for the Thursday crossover as we get you ready for Detroit and Pittsburgh from Ford Field. I want to say one thing. Just want to say one thing on what Tully said about the officiating. Nobody is saying that the Lions are 8-6 because of the refs. And I'm not one to make excuses for the team being inconsistent and going win-loss, and trading wins and losses since they won back-to-back games, October 5th, 28th and the 5th, Browns and Bengals, and they started the win-loss thing with the Chiefs loss. But let me tell you something. There's a couple of, I don't know if the Lions are just cursed. I don't know if the league just doesn't like them. I don't know. But the fact remains that the Lions, the Jared Goff play in Kansas City where he caught the touchdown pass when he was in motion, and there's been no explanation as to really what happened. And Campbell says New York told him, and the league says New York didn't tell him. There's that. Thanksgiving Day, as I referenced to Stephen, you got an offensive lineman moving out of his stance. It's a false start. LaFleur says timeout way after that happens. The cameras see it. The refs throw the flag. And then the side judge comes in and says, no, we got the timeout first. It wasn't even close. This week, Parkinson, the tight end for the Rams, catches a pass. His knee is down at the 1. He's actually juggling the ball. There are questions on, did he make the catch? Did he complete the process of the catch? Was he in the end zone? We know this. All right, he caught it. But his knee's down at the 1. Now, it might not have made a difference. Kyron Williams or Corum could have run it in, whatever. But after the game, the pool report with the ref, and the ref says, nope, that's what we saw. That's what the call was. What about, didn't you see the knee down when you were talking to New York in the replay? Nope, it's a touchdown. No explanation. Get it right. Get it right. I can see why Lions fans have a beef. Did it cost them the game Sunday? No, the Rams are better than the Lions. But we want things to be fair for everybody. 2 games the Lions have played this year where the other team hasn't had a penalty. Chiefs had 0. Rams had no penalties until the 3-minute mark when basically the game was over. They finished with 2. And I know the Rams are the least penalized team in the league. I get that, but come on. I hate it for you guys. All right, we're back again tomorrow with a Wednesday Locked On Lions. Keep us locked in daily. And, of course, don't forget our Everydayers Club as well. We'll see you tomorrow.